Hello and welcome to Carpool Weekly, giving you the week in gaming news that you need to know about from the week that was. Very quickly, like and subscribe to us here on YouTube if you like our Carpool content, but let's get straight into it. I'm Seth Sturgill.
I'm Matt Sawinski.
Let's do it. Let's talk about the news.
The first season of HBO's The Last of Us has wrapped up this past Sunday to record-breaking success, and we already have news of a physical box set arriving this summer. The Last of Us Season 1 will be released in DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Ultra HD formats on July 18th, and is already available for pre-order at many retailers. In addition to the 9 episodes of the series, it'll include hours of bonus features, behind-the-scenes content, and featurettes. I cannot wait for this. I have to get my pre-order in, Seth. Is this a day one for you?
Oh, for sure. How is it not a day one? I mean, we love this show. We just wrapped up the first season. Of course, you and I did the Last of Us post show right here on the YouTube channel. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. It's a great show. It's an all-timer, and I can't wait to own it forever and ever. Please and thank you. But in our next story, Microsoft has announced not one, but 2 10-year agreements this week with cloud streaming partners, and it's looking more and more like their acquisition of Activision Blizzard King will be moving ahead. In a move to further ease regulation concerns in their acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, Microsoft has entered into 10-year agreements with Ubitus and Boosteroid this week, both of whom are prolific cloud gaming service providers. Both of these deals involve agreements to stream, quote, Xbox PC games as well as Activision Blizzard titles, including Call of Duty, end quote, with these services, which Microsoft says will bring Call of Duty to, quote, more than 150 million additional players, end quote. Now, notably, Ubitus is the company that runs many of the prolific cloud-based titles on Nintendo Switch, such as Guardians of the Galaxy, Hitman 3, Control, and Resident Evil Village. And this strategy seems to be working for Microsoft, as the CMA, which is the regulator in the UK, they posted 6 studio responses to the Activision Blizzard deal, and none of them suggested that the deal should be stopped from going ahead. This is just another leg in this journey, Matt. We're all sick of talking about it. We're all ready for it to be over, but it looks like this is going ahead with cloud streaming partners. Microsoft is basically just building like an army of agreements to make sure this happens.
Yeah, especially this week I learned about Ubitus, whatever it is, and Boosteroid, which are 2 additional platforms that now I guess I have to learn about. But I'm just ready for the story to be over, and I hope it is soon.
Yeah, agreed. There was also somebody was posting something on Twitter about kind of like I don't know exactly what the details are, but some shady stuff that Ubitus was involved. I don't know. It's a mess. You guys parse this out morally however you want. We're just here to report the facts. But yes, more cloud streaming stuff. The Ubitus thing is kind of interesting because, this is the company that's already worked with Nintendo a lot on cloud-based titles. So it makes me wonder if this sort of implies that Call of Duty on Nintendo, which we already know is a thing, is just going to be cloud.
Well, because they've already kind of made reference that like they can get Call of Duty on the Switch, and I mean, like Phil Spencer has kind of doubled down on that. Maybe this is the way to do that, because I can't imagine that unless we get a Switch Pro, that modern day Call of Duty is going to run very well on an OG Switch without something like this.
Yeah, no chance. Yeah,
not a chance at all. But moving on to our next story, several former leads from legendary Burnout developer Criterion Games have formed a new studio called Fuse Games, and they have a new AAA game in development. Led by former EA Vice President and Criterion Games General Manager Matt Webster, the team is already hard at work on a quote-unquote brand new premium AAA title for PC and console, which it says, again, quote-unquote, fusing uncompromising attention to game feel with blockbuster spectacle and player-centric innovations in social gameplay, self-expression, and creativity. Webster was one of 5 members of senior leadership that left Criterion after Need for Speed Unbound's launch last year, and all 5 of those people have joined the new team at Fuse Games, which currently has 17 active employees. So Seth, my biggest kind of question is obviously what is it? Because this to me sounds like they're going to very much be staying in that arcade racing arena, which I'm very, very glad about. What do you think?
I would be surprised if this wasn't an arcade racer. You don't assemble talent like this without playing to their strengths. I mean, to me, it kind of reminds me of like the Kind of Funny thing. It kind of reminds me of like, hey, like we're leaving IGN and we're starting our own thing. It's like those kind of vibes. We're leaving Criterion and we're starting our own thing. Maybe they just got, I don't know if it was like they got sick of the sort of the company structure at working for somebody like an EA. They wanted to kind of get back to their roots or something like that. But to take all of these people that were from senior leadership at a legendary studio and, you know, and spur into this new thing is exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing more. It's clearly early days with whatever this is. So,
very, very early, but I'm excited to see more.
I am too. And we got an interesting story here from Tango Gameworks. Their kind of underrated little gem, Ghostwire Tokyo, is coming to Game Pass next month alongside some brand new content. On April 12th, the game is hitting Xbox for the very first time on Game Pass with the new The Spider's Thread update. This is going to add new areas to the game, such as a haunted middle school, apparently, quality of life improvements, new enemy types, new skills, extended cutscenes, and more. In addition to this, the update adds an interesting roguelike mode to the game where players must navigate a 30-stage gauntlet assembled from over 130 levels. I really want to play this game, Matt.
I played it back when it came out, and I really enjoyed it. I know it was kind of met with middling reviews, and I thought it was a really, really solid, fun entry. I'm a huge fan of Tokyo. I've been there many times, and kind of being back in that area and running around was really, really cool. So I'm hoping this breathes some new life into the game because I do think it was slept on. All right, let's move on to our next story, because speaking of Ghostwire Tokyo, it is also one of the many games that have been announced for March's PlayStation Plus game catalog. Beginning March 21st, PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium members will have access to Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, Chia, which is a day one on the service, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction, Ghostwire Tokyo, Life is Strange True Colors, Immortals Phoenix Rising, Life is Strange 2, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Street Fighter V Championship Edition, Untitled Goose Game, Final Fantasy Type O HD, Rage 2, Neo, The World Ends With You, and Haven. In addition, PlayStation Plus Premium members will have new additions to the Classics catalog like Ridge Racer Type 4, which was on PS1, Ape Academy 2 from PSP, and Siphon Filter Dark Mirror, also from PSP. This is a pretty awesome lineup. There's some heavy hitters, and I'm very, very excited to actually hop in to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. It was a game I wanted to check out, and I'm excited to hop in and fly around in that world and hang out with Goku and the rest of the Z Warriors. But Seth, any standouts for you here?
Yeah, for me, we just talked about Ghostwire Tokyo. That's the big one for me. I'm like, this is perfect. I can now hop into Ghostwire Tokyo, no strings attached. It's on Game Pass. It's now even on PlayStation Plus. I'm like, this is fantastic. Another big standout for me, first of all, like the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection is awesome. Chia, day one, this is great. Obviously, we've talked about this in the past before. Neo, The World Ends With You is a game that a lot of people slept on, so I'm happy that more people have access to that. And then Haven is a really interesting little indie game that I like quite a bit. So this is pretty cool. Yeah, good drop.
Yeah, it's a great drop. And Court and I over on the PlayStation Drive have been begging for more games day one on the service. And Chia looks like an adorable, fantastic, adorbs adventure. So I'm happy we're getting more of that. And I hope this continues to be the case. But Seth, hit us with that next news.
Absolutely. Our final news story for this week is a similar one because Nintendo expanded their own subscription service this week with new additions to their Game Boy, Super Nintendo, and NES apps for Nintendo Switch Online. So this new batch of games dropped on Wednesday night and added Kirby's Dream Land 2 and Burger Time Deluxe to the Game Boy app, Side Pocket, the pool, the billiards game for Super Nintendo, Exevious for the NES. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've never known how to pronounce this game. I think it's Exevious. And notably, each of these editions are available to apps on the standard Nintendo Switch Online subscription. So you don't need NSO expansion pack in order to access these. This is a pretty good drop. There's, Side Pocket's odd. It's like an odd kind of like billiards game. I think a lot of people are kind of like, okay, whatever. But Kirby's Dream Land 2 is a pretty major drop for the Game Boy app. I'm excited about that. What about you?
Yeah, same. I mean, Kirby's Dream Land 2 is easily the highlight here.
Yeah.
I just hope we get more of these kind of highlight games from this service because I feel it's kind of middle of the road, and I want more of games like this, which hopefully we'll see in the future.
Yes, absolutely. But that's been this week in gaming news for Carpool Weekly. Let us know in the comments below what you think. And before you head out, make sure to leave us a quick like and subscribe. But folks, for myself, for Matt, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.